When you look at Europe, it's, I guess, difficult at the phrase, right? We have a political uncertainty in France and Germany and elsewhere. What does it mean for yields?
Well, you can see there's, there's been quite a big rally in core. Well, you define core now as in German bunds in the recent period, and I think a lot of that is people are focused on the French election risk, and you can ask the question as to why people are focused on it now relative to 3 months ago or any other issue, and I think part of it is just as you come closer to the events, then markets tend to focus more deeply on it. So I think that's what Europe is focused on. Yeah.
And Mike, let me bring you over to my Bloomberg terminal. So this we see basically the spread between the French and German 10-year. Are you expecting to see a lot more volatility? So it was up and then it came down a touch. Again, if you believe the polls, and I don't know whether you do believe the polls, on a Le Pen victory in the second round, it's highly unlikely, except you have a lot of unknowns.
That's right. And I think the other thing which you need to remember is you can potentially get the volatility. It's a relatively low probability, I think, but potentially quite high impact event if she were to win. So you've got Le Pen polling around about 40 plus or minus in the second round, depending upon who she sees there if she gets to the second round. And you can see there, the France-German spread on your screen there at 62 basis points. Does not really reflect a significant risk that that you get a redenomination in France, because a lot of things have to happen. But if it were to happen, I think you'd see some volatility, and you'll probably see some volatility ahead of the event anyway.
Mike, in the blur that we go through every week, there's always a statistic here or there that stops you cold in your tracks. And that was early this week to remind myself that we're near 10% unemployment in a good part of Europe. With the better EU economy, does Pimco just assume that you'll get lower unemployment rates, or are they truly embedded?
No, we do, actually. We were talking about this yesterday, and I think what you've got in Europe is you do seem to have some, at the European level, you do seem to have some decent momentum on domestic demand. Actually, if you look at European employment growth is running at close to 2% year on year at the moment. So it would be very surprising if you don't see that unemployment rate coming down. The staggering thing is, as you rightly point out, is that Europe has an unemployment rate which is twice the Anglo-Saxons. So, that's why you're not seeing any pickup in inflation. You've got headline inflation picking up, but core inflation is still stuck at 0.9%. So we think they've got plenty of room to run, but domestic demand looks like it's going pretty well.
That German banner that just came up, folks, that color's wrong. It ought to be a red color on a negative 0.28. We have a greater negative yield, a lower yield this morning in Germany.